China, tama ito. Hugot ka makapwa. Don't turn out the man! Nabawag! Mari! Nakasalamat sa Maui at Kakanis! Nasukanis! Virginia, Mari pa! I see that, I felt that. You're supposed to be busy. Hugot ka makapwa. Now that place is totally need. Hugot ka! Hugot niya po! Nagpaw nagmag-China! Tama kayo! Virginia, ma! I'm going to post this on Facebook! What the fuck are we now? That's me when you stop. No good energy. I'm going to post this on Facebook. All around the world. Dad, why did you fucking punch her then? That's not right. That's not right. I didn't fucking punch her.
Punch him on the face. Okay, punch him the face in there. Don't listen to the racism.
Hugot ka tama kayo sa akin, ha? Nagwabat hugot ka magkapwa. Siya, tapo yata. Maji. Now you stop punching her, keep punching her, you fucking asshole. Don't leave her alone, you fucking asshole. You got a camera now, you fucking asshole, fucking white.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Well, it's Abbey Road, Cornerbrook style. I'll tell you all about the musicians in this beautiful mural on Broadway.
There's tons of great stores here, and it's I'm just not seeing the traffic like we used to.
And how this colorful painting is really boosting business. That's ahead.
Rain this story tonight. However, these warm temperatures are going to stick around.
He must have felt so alone that nobody cared about him. I was kind of put in a position where I was the scapegoat.
A system stressed and understaffed, fired from her job. The social worker says the province failed a 15-year-old who needed help. Tonight, she's speaking out.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain.
And I'm Peter Cowan. That's our top story tonight. Wally Rich died by suicide in May. The Innu teen was under the care of the province at the time of his death. Tonight, there are questions about how he fell through the cracks of a child protection system that was supposed to keep him safe. Questions raised by his family and the social worker assigned to his file. Here Now's Heather Gillis reports, but first a warning. The details of this story may be alarming for some.
In May, Wally Rich, an Innu teen from Natwashish, died by suicide in a Labrador group home. His mother, Nympha Rich, says Wally was a good kid, but because of her drinking problem, he spent 10 years in care.
Wally would have been alive right now if CSSD give me a chance.
Rich says her son was suicidal and should have been watched 24/7. She says Wally wanted to come home and be with her in Natwashish.
He only brings the casket home, which is very sad, and I hate it, and it still hurts me.
Rich doesn't trust social workers or the child protection system anymore. She says her son was always hungry when she visited him, and despite assurances that Wally was safe, she's now questioning the care he received at a group home.
CSSD has failed us a lot. They did a lot of damage to us. since my son passed away.
He must have felt so alone that nobody cared about him.
Wally Rich's child protection file was one of more than 40 cases social worker Linda Saunders was responsible for. Saunders agrees and says there were major problems with the system, a system that ultimately failed Wally Rich.
We're supposed to be there, the most vulnerable people in society. We're supposed to be there to help. And really, at the end of the day, if we see one person gone, that's one too many.
Saunders was a social worker in Happy Valley Goose Bay for 6 years. She took education leave to pursue a master's degree and returned to work mid-April, near the height of the coronavirus pandemic.
The file caseload was double, probably even more than double from when I left.
Saunders says staffing was reduced because at least 4 social workers had quit before her return to work. She says there was a lot of stress in the workplace. Pressure from the pandemic meant she was encouraged to work from home, but she didn't have a work phone or access to one of the 162 laptops the Department of Children, Seniors and Social Development deployed to staff. Plus, in-person visits were reduced, only allowed for urgent and high-risk cases.
In the past, I would always go to homes, do visits. Obviously, that wasn't permitted.
On Sunday, May 17th, over the Victoria Day long weekend, there was an incident with Wally Rich at the group home. But Saunders says she didn't find out about it until she returned to work on Tuesday afternoon. She searched for a supervisor to seek direction, but says no one was available. She says she had to move on to affidavits for court because her workload was so heavy.
What next steps needed to happen, if anything? You know, was this person monitored 24/7? Is that my call? Or was it the supervisor and social worker that was on call at that time?
She says the social worker and supervisor on call over the weekend didn't contact her about the incident, and no one visited the teen in person.
What did they do to ensure safety? They didn't. And then the next thing I know, something serious happens.
Serious doesn't begin to describe what happened to Wally Rich. The next serious incident had the most serious consequence of all. Wally took his own life. Weeks after his tragic death, there were serious consequences for Saunders. She was fired.
Should a child lose their life, I will leave no stone unturned to get to the bottom of why that happened.
At the time of Rich's death, Lisa Dempster was the minister of CSSD, the department responsible for children in care. She can't reveal any details about the case or even confirm if Rich was in the provincial government's care. But she can say, when a child dies in the government's care, the child youth advocate and the chief medical examiner are notified. A human resources and file review began, and they look into why the child was in care.
While we want social workers to feel supported, you talked about a death of a child in care. There has to be a level of accountability as well. We're hiring professionals to do very important work.
I want to get to the root problem.
The province promised an inquiry into Innu children in care in 2017, but it still hasn't happened. The Innu Nation's Grand Chief, Etienne Rich, says Wally's death highlights the need for the inquiry to begin.
It's a broken system. It's a dysfunctional system. We always said that it's hurting too many Innu kids and it's hurting too many Innu families. That's why we call for an inquiry to get those answers.
But 5 months after Rich's death, the Innu Nation and the family still don't have answers from the provincial government.
And we still haven't heard anything from them. I don't know what they're hiding.
$1 million was earmarked for the inquiry into Innu children in care in last month's provincial budget. Wally Rich's mother says an inquiry will give parents like her a chance to tell their stories about how the system failed them and broke their families. But no matter when the inquiry begins, its findings will be too late for Wally Rich. Heather Gillis, CBC News, St. John's.
If you or someone you know is struggling, there is help. call the Mental Health Crisis Line at the number below. There's also the Canada Suicide Prevention Services. You can also call or text, and of course the Kids Help Phone, which also offers live chat counseling on its website. All these numbers and addresses are available on our website, cbc.ca/nl.